Welcome back to the channel, Coin Enthusiasts. Today, we're going to talk about one of the smallest denominations in Australian currency, the 1-cent coin. Even though these little copper coins were officially withdrawn from circulation in 1992, they're still very popular among collectors. Most people might overlook them because of their size, but believe me, some of these coins can be worth much more than just a cent. In this video, we'll uncover the top 2 1-cent coins from Australia that stand out for their rarity and value. Let's get started. First up, the 1987 Australian 1-cent coin. Though tiny in size, this coin represents a period of transition in Australia's currency. The one we'll look at is in circulated condition, which gives it extra character from decades of use. The Australian 1-cent coin was introduced in 1966, alongside the rest of the decimal currency system that replaced pounds, shillings, and pence. For over 25 years, the 1-cent coin was a common part of everyday life, handed out in change for even the smallest purchases. By 1987, it was still widely circulating, though its usefulness was already starting to decline due to inflation. The obverse side of the 1987 1-cent coin features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by sculptor Raphael Maklouf. This design was introduced in 1985 and shows the Queen wearing the royal diadem. It replaced the earlier portrait by Arnold Machin and gave the coins a fresher, more regal look. The inscription reads Elizabeth II Australia 1987. The reverse side of the coin is where the artistry truly shines. Designed by Stuart Devlin, the official goldsmith to the Queen, it depicts a feathertail glider, one of Australia's smallest and most adorable marsupials. This tiny gliding possum clings to a branch, symbolizing the uniqueness of Australia's wildlife. Below it, the denomination 1 is clearly shown. The 1987 1-cent coin was minted in bronze, made of 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin. It weighs 2.6 grams and has a diameter of 17.65 millimeters, making it one of the smallest coins in Australian currency history. Its reddish-brown tone when freshly minted made it stand out, though years of circulation changed its appearance significantly. In circulated condition, the coin often looks very different from when it was first struck. The bright copper shine fades to a darker, richer brown, and sometimes black or green spots appear due to oxidation. Small scratches, worn edges, and a smoother surface are all signs of the coin's long life in circulation. Even with wear, the feathertail glider design usually remains visible. The fine details of its fur or the branch may be less sharp, and the Queen's portrait on the obverse may look softer or flattened. Still, most circulated coins retain their core details, and you can easily identify the date and design. The color of circulated 1-cent coins is especially interesting. Some develop a chocolate brown tone, while others take on almost black surfaces from years in pockets, tills, and jars. In some cases, coins stored in humid conditions can show green or bluish tones, caused by copper reacting with moisture. This natural aging makes each circulated piece unique. The year 1987 itself was not a low mintage year. Millions of 1-cent coins were produced, making them quite common at the time. Because of this, the circulated examples we see today are generally not rare. However, they remain important for collectors who want to complete full-year sets or who enjoy the history of Australian decimal coins. By the early 1990s, the usefulness of 1-cent and 2-cent coins had faded. Inflation meant they could buy very little, and the cost of producing them was higher than their face value. In 1992, both denominations were officially withdrawn from circulation, though they remained legal tender. This makes 1987 coins part of the final chapter in the penny's story. In terms of value, a circulated 1987 1-cent coin is usually worth only its face value, or slightly more to collectors. Typically, they might sell for around 5 to 20 cents if in decent circulated condition. However, coins in uncirculated or mint condition can fetch higher prices, especially if preserved in coin sets. There's also the fun of looking for errors or varieties. Misstruck coins, off-center strikes, or coins with planchette flaws can sometimes be worth several dollars. While error coins from this year are not extremely common, it's always worth examining your coins closely. You never know what you might find. For many Australians, the 1-cent coin carries a sense of nostalgia. People remember them jingling in pockets, being collected in jars, or handed out as tiny bits of change at corner shops. Although their face value was small, these coins played a big role in daily life for over 2 decades. So, the 1987 Australian 1-cent coin in circulated condition may not be rare or particularly valuable, but it's a wonderful piece of history. With its feathertail glider design, its aged bronze color, and its place in the final years of the 1-cent denomination, it remains a coin worth holding on to. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more coin stories from around the world. Next up, the 1973 Australian 1-cent coin. Though tiny in size and low in face value, this coin has an important place in history. The one we're focusing on is in circulated condition, carrying decades of use and plenty of character. The Australian 1-cent coin was first issued in 1966, when the country switched to decimal currency. It replaced the old penny system and quickly became a staple of everyday life. By the year 1973, the coin had already been circulating for several years, and it was still widely used in shops, markets, and small transactions across the nation. The obverse side of the 1973 1-cent coin features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This effigy was used from 1966 through 1984 and shows the Queen wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. Surrounding the portrait are the words Elizabeth II Australia 1973, clearly identifying both the monarch and the issuing country. On the reverse side, we see the stunning artistry of Stuart Devlin, the official goldsmith to the Queen. He created a design featuring the feathertail glider, one of Australia's smallest marsupials. Perched on a branch, this tiny possum represents the unique wildlife of Australia. Below it, the numeral 1 appears boldly, representing the denomination. The 1973 1-cent coin was struck in bronze, consisting of 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin. It weighs 2.6 grams, measures 17.65 millimeters in diameter, and has a plain edge. When freshly minted, the coin displayed a bright reddish-brown tone typical of copper-based coins, though circulation has transformed most examples into darker shades. In circulated condition, a 1973 1-cent coin usually shows significant signs of wear. The once shiny bronze finish is often replaced by chocolate brown or even dark black tones. Scratches, rim nicks, and smoothing of fine details are common. The Queen's portrait may appear softened, while the details of the feathertail glider can look less crisp after decades of handling. Despite the wear, circulated coins still have a charm of their own. They carry with them the history of thousands of transactions, from pocket change at the corner shop to coins rattling around in a schoolchild's piggy bank. Every mark and color change tells part of the story of its journey over more than 40 years. The color of circulated coins is especially interesting. Some examples age into a smooth chocolate brown tone, while others darken almost completely to black. In certain cases, oxidation produces small green or bluish patches, especially if the coin has been stored in damp conditions. This variety of patina makes each circulated coin unique. As for mintage, 1973 was not a particularly rare year. The Royal Australian Mint produced millions of 1-cent coins that year, ensuring that plenty entered circulation. Because of this, circulated examples remain common today, and they are easily found in coin collections or even among old jars of change in households. In terms of value, a circulated 1973 1-cent coin is typically worth only its face value, or slightly more to collectors. In average circulated condition, they usually sell for around 5 to 20 cents. However, higher-grade coins, especially uncirculated examples, can fetch more, and proof issues are significantly more valuable. There is also the possibility of finding errors or varieties. Occasionally, misstruck coins, off-center strikes, or planchette flaws appear on 1-cent coins, and these can make a common date like 1973 far more desirable to collectors. While not common, it's always worth examining your coins carefully for such features. The historical significance of the 1-cent coin goes beyond its face value. By 1973, inflation was already reducing its usefulness, but the coin continued to circulate until the early 1990s. In 1992, both the 1-cent and 2-cent coins were withdrawn from circulation, making them a nostalgic part of Australia's past. For many Australians, these little coins bring back memories. Children often collected them, shops gave them back in small change, and countless families kept jars filled with them at home. Even though they were withdrawn decades ago, they remain an iconic reminder of everyday life in the late 20th century. So, the 1973 Australian 1-cent coin in circulated condition may not be rare or highly valuable, but it's still an important piece of history. With its charming feathertail glider design, its aged bronze color, and its role in the early decades of decimal currency, this coin is a reminder of how even the smallest denomination has a story to tell. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more coin stories from around the world.